All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Bold Expressions. Today we have a friend of the pod back again after a good minute. Mrs. Damani Anderson, how you doing? Mrs.
Man, I
Jeff
am
Key.
good. A throwback, man. I'm doing good, brother. Carl, I definitely appreciate you tapping in with me, man. I was just telling my wife, man, this is a full circle moment. I remember some years back during the COVID season, man, you invited me on to come and chat with your people. Right, I think at the very beginning stages of me beginning my master's program in marriage and family therapy, and now here I am, a licensed therapist at this point. And just out here moving and shaking, man. Still living life and loving and trying to pour into my community the best way I can. So I definitely appreciate you tapping in, man. As soon as you reached out, of course, the answer is always gonna be yes. Glad to be able to be a part of this community and be able to have the space to be able to pour into your people the best way I know how.
Yeah. I just wanted to pause. If anybody was looking at my expression, my wife just scared the hell out of me. I looked to the left. I know I closed the door, and I saw something moving. I was like, "The hell!" She brought me some Theraflu and some cough
That
drops.
love. And I appreciate you in the midst of sickness, man. He told me he crawled out of the bed and
I
came down here hand and foot
did.
and slid down the stairs to get in this seat, man, to do this interview. So I definitely appreciate it.
Know how you know that it was like a cold? You ever been like feeling under the weather and you get under the cover and it's that chill, but that good chill?
Mm-hmm.
And you get under the cover, you just, I was like, it's like, oh, what's that Family Guy skit? Cooler than the other side of the pillow.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you to my wonderful wife for taking care of the kids right now. Uh, like I said, we just got through eating, and she gave me something and cough drops in my other giant water bottle, keep me hydrated.
There you go. You been stay hydrated.
Oh yeah, drink like a fish. The only issue, just already getting off topic. The only issue is Daniel keeps getting into the bathroom, so we'll have to lock the bathroom. But you don't think about that when it's like 2 in the morning or whatever, and you got to run in the bathroom, and be like, "Oh, that's locked," and you got to, and it's like, "Yeah, you got to get from the thing."
Just a little bit.
Oh,
Now you gotta try to jiggle the hand to do all this stuff, and he
and he just be doing so. Sometimes he's not even doing anything bad, but sometimes he is. He's gotten to where I guess it's because he's been producing more mucus when he was sick near the end of last year, and so he would just like rub it on his face. I didn't know that can break you out. So we've
mm,
been like struggling with that for a while.
break the
But
habit. Yeah.
yeah, but he's overall he's been doing good. Every once in a while he'll surprise me with the stuff that he does, trying to be a great big brother. Uh, and just just trying to be the best he can. I love my little boy. Well, I can't
That's
say
all right.
he's 10 years old. He comes to my chest, so he's like five something.
Yes, I got big baby, so all my
Right.
children are 97% time.
Exactly.
That's fine.
Yeah, you know. And then when you try to, they don't have people don't have sympathy for tall people. People like, "Dang, you're big." It's like, well, look at you and your wife. It's like, look, I ain't asked you for your feedback. I'm just telling you what's going
Let
on.
me give me space. Give me space to express myself. You asked for. I didn't say I didn't, but that don't mean I can't talk about it.
Right. He is tall and lanky, and I love him, but he does not realize his height.
I mean,
He will when he wants to love on me. It feels so good. It just like, oh, just because I remember a time when he was younger, he didn't really show that, but now he does. But he's big and strong, so he will tip you over, and he doesn't. He will put all. This boy got on one of my knees. He put all his weight on like one of my legs. I'm just like, why do you still think that you are small? I'm like, okay,
that ain't gonna go away. That ain't gonna go away for a long time. I lived it. I lived it.
all right, and you want to appreciate it because there's going to come a time to where they won't want to, and you're gonna
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm trying to keep that in mind.
Hey,
You mentioned the reason that I wanted to bring you on is that you have set up your own, was it Big Black Therapist?
yes, yes, man. That is my brand. I am branded as my big black therapist, not my big black therapist. Therapist. No, you laugh, but people be saying that, and I'll be like, okay, I know I got a big back, but that's not what. That's not my name. It's called my big black therapist. So yeah, that's my brand, man. It is. It was birthed out of. I mean, my life. I'm 6'9". I'm dark skinned complexion individual. And throughout my life, I've always felt like I had to fit the mold of what people expected me to be. I had to be
Hmm.
big. I had to be a sports player. Anytime anybody sees me, whatever city that's closest, whatever major city is closest, that's what team needs me. So if I live in Dallas right now, so the Cowboys need. I mean, the Cowboys do. Whatever city that we're in, whatever major city that we're near, that's what organization needs me. But for a while, I had to live. You know, I lived. I felt like I was performative at some point because I didn't want people's perception of what I truly was or what I truly felt like doing, have them judge me. So I had got to a point where I would lie and tell people that I played sports when I didn't, and all of these different things because of me not just moving in my authenticity, me not being proud of where God uh, put me and what He blessed upon me. And with therapy and just listening to Him, I've felt called to call myself my big black therapist, to challenge implicit biases, because that's what it is. It's an implicit bias. That's learned behavior, learned implied thoughts of others that we may have based upon societal rules, based upon what we see, what we input. You know, in society, a lot of times, big and black usually goes with somebody who's either doing something violent, somebody who is either being security of some sort, or somebody who's playing sports, or in an occasion somebody who's doing some type of entertainment. But you don't see that title with therapists. You don't see that title with doctor, psychiatrist, chiropractor. Like you don't imagine those titles with that. And a lot of times people who are large feel as if they have to, sometimes we do things just to fit, to be fitting. So that's the birth of my big black therapist. Challenge that. Why should I feel like I have to hide who I am, or why should I feel like I have to fit the mold of what people think I am in order to feel accepted? How about I walk in my purpose?
That is literally how I got into acting. Big dude in high school, and I was in Tennessee at the time, and it's just like big black dude. Oh, you gotta you gotta play football. Oh, of course you're gonna play football. I was just like, nah, like it was that and a girl, those two reasons. But
Yeah, yeah.
I think you forget the girls, like, because I really, and acting and me making that decision got me in multiple plays, got me in the local newspaper a few times, got me in the first edition of a playwright. Somebody wrote a play, and I was the first person to actually have a script. I keep meaning to like look through that script and see if the dude is out there somewhere. Like I was the first person to play this role, and it led to a couple other things that I enjoy. And but no, yeah, man, I feel you. And as I always say, it's the same qualities that they want to see us on the court, on the field, is the same reasons they'll use to shoot us. To
Mm,
be
mm,
oh, they, big black guy. I fear for my life. He was a young dude, but he was so much bigger than me. It's like, sir, you're a 6'4". It's like this is like if if that's all it took, then you weren't meant for this, to begin with. But yeah, and it is, and I also put it in mind of before I was married, and even now. how I deal with women because sometimes I don't realize how much bigger I am until I see pictures. Like I'll see pictures of me and my sisters and my mom, and I'm just like, wow, it's like I am towering over everybody.
Yeah,
And so and so there's the thing is like I always wanted to make it is a conscious thing to try to make whoever is around me feel safe. That I'm not going to try to impose my will or any type of way. Um, I mentioned police before. There has been a couple instances to where it's like I'm frustrated, but I know I have to respond a certain way. I got to act a certain way, like I'm trained, you know. But it's a thing of like, yeah, I can't, you know, can't let them use who they think I am as an excuse to treat me as a person that I'm not.
absolutely.
Um, there's a and well, two things. There's I saw an article yesterday that made me think about you. Somebody had sent in the Discord. It was about I guess a guy maybe like in his 20s. He was like the youngest principal at this middle school, and it was just a thing of in general, like you rarely see black men therapists. You also rarely see black male teachers. I can only think of one black male that I had, and that was for band. Like all through school, every class is like I've never had a black man as a teacher, and there is something different that you get from that. Like if somebody do you feel may understand you, because
Mhm.
I know there's been a lot of things lately about men feeling unseen and unheard because of this thing of well nobody cares anyway, so what's the point of me talking about my feelings? It helps if they look across from them and they see somebody else that looks like them that can share in that experience.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's definitely important. And we can speak just can't like just a quick touch on that. Like a lot of times we don't see men in these positions is due to societal pressures. You know, when you look at the concept of relationships, men are supposed to be providers. And a lot of times we run away from service jobs because those service jobs don't pay well. And if we start to look at what people consider the modern woman or the way that the expectation is, six figures. Got to make six figures. I got to do this. I got to do that. Well, these teaching positions aren't going to put me in the position to be able to make that. Um, these teaching positions aren't appealing to men across the board. So therefore, I don't feel, as men, we may not feel comfortable getting into that space, and we leave it to someone else because we got to go chase this bag. We got to go do these other things. Even though we may have a passion for teaching, we may have a passion for pouring into the younger community, but we'll do that on another way. I got to chase this bag. I got to do these different things. Representation matters. It's very important to see people in multiple positions. Black men in teacher roles, black men as nurses, black men as different spaces as psychologists and doctors and all of these lawyers, like all of these large spaces, but even in the regular fields, man, like it's very important for that representation because like you said, it allows them to feel seen, allows me to feel seen and appreciated, validated. Like I feel like I can go to this guy because there's a possibility he may know a little bit about what I'm dealing with and what I'm struggling with.
Yeah, that is absolutely right. The perception, um, and the sad thing is that perception is something that was created by men. The patriarchy. Men set all that up, but then now you see men get mad at women for going along with the thing that we set up and we push. So it has this whole gender war thing where men are getting mad at women for an expectation that men put, and instead of kind of re-educating ourselves as a society, we just say, "Oh, well, I'm expected to do this, 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 this." It's like I don't know if you. I think we may have talked about these guys before. I don't know if you know anything about the red pill community.
The red pill community.
Yeah, it's people like Fresh and Fit, uh, Andrew
Ah,
Tate.
yes.
It's like, and dudes like that would say the dumb ish like they have more money, and so women should do what they want them to do. Know, it's like, you should just, she shouldn't be working. I got the money. She does what, because I'm the provider. But then at the same time, go be like, well, women are just gold diggers because they just want us for our money. And it's like, you set that up. You said, be with me because of this. And then when they say, fine, if you have this, I'll be with you. It's like, oh, you only care about this. It's like, that's what you have trained some people to focus on. And I think it's also I don't even want to say vocal minority thing. It's a thing to where it's not as prevalent as you see it more online. You see people making videos online, but in real life, women know what's up. They live in the same life we live in, and they know. The reasonable ones know that you. No, first of all, there's only so many six-figure jobs out there, especially if you are a certain hue, got a certain name, went to a certain school. There's only so many six-figure jobs out there. There's only so many people who are able to provide for two people off of one salary. I'm not talking to you. And it's a thing of it's this cycle of I want this, but they expect this. But then if I don't give it to them, then I'm going to reject them before they reject me. And you could just say, well, no, that's not it. And the thing that really gets me when I see people of color falling into that trap, it's a thing that most of the time I see us chasing an aesthetic that was only ever meant for white people in the first place. Because
Go.
you talk about like even back in the 60s, 70s, black women were still working.
Mhm.
So this myth that we see on black and white TV that there's only one person who can have this whole household and lovely house and all this other stuff, that's only for certain people. That was never for everybody. You know that
Mhm.
they did it intentionally. Uh, there was something you said about like showing up as who you are before. I don't even know if I sent you this dude. There's this guy that's been coming through my timeline lately. I want to turn it on because I want to switch headphones. He is conflictish. I think that's his name. He's the black dude. He talks about. I see him on Instagram. He talks about. I love because he always has some nice little word. Uh, and one thing he said the other day was, uh, what was it? Fighting for a seat at the table that already has your name on it, and
Mhm.
how a lot of times people will see something within us that we don't see in ourselves, and we're still trying to prove something to somebody that already knows, you know, who we are, what we can do. And at the end, he was like, "But sometimes you just got to do it for yourself." And I think about that with your story, just like, I'm pretty sure, like your wife, there was people who believed in you, who said, you got to do this, and you're trying to, as you say, live up to this role. And it said like God already had something for you. He's like, I got this right here for you. Whenever you ready, whenever you finish going through whatever you're going through, I got it right over here. It's like it'll be here. I had it waiting on you. And just dust it off whenever you finish going through what you're going through. And
Mhm.
I think about that a lot. Fight for stuff like this is already yours. Like, why are you trying so hard for something that is freely given?
Yeah. With that, it's a struggle though. We struggle with self. We struggle with our past selves. I can only utilize the strength and support of someone to a certain extent. You
Hmm.
know, I think about, even with like my working out, like this past year, since this time last year, I weighed a little over 400 pounds. And last I weighed myself, I was around 344, 343, 344. Uh, and for 8 or 9 years, man, this has been a struggle. This has been a fight. And I tried to do it for other people. I tried to do it for my wife, but that only takes me so far. When my oldest daughter came here, I said, "Oh, I gotta work out. I gotta lose weight for my baby. I gotta be here for her." Only took me so far. Now, my second child came. I was like, "Oh my God, I got two kids. I got two girls now. I gotta make sure I'm here." That only took me so far. My wife started having some knee issues, and I'm just like, "Well, I'm the only person here with two good knees. I got to do this for that." At some point in time, we have to look in the mirror and we have to work on loving ourselves. We have to have that conversation and say, "You know what? I love you. I love you enough to fight for you. I trust God enough to be obedient to this and stick to this plan and stay consistent." And it wasn't until I started, loving myself, I started doing this for me and staying consistent regardless of what I may be facing, what I'm feeling, that the results started happening. Like, God started, like you mentioned, like God was like, I've been waiting on you. I'm waiting on you to count on
Right.
me and really trust in me this whole time. You've been trying to do it for everybody else. You've been trying to do it for her. You've been trying to do it for your kids. Do it for me. Be obedient to me. Love yourself. And the reason why I'm gonna bless you with this in this space is because I love you. Now you love yourself. Tell yourself that you love yourself. Pour that into you, into your own body, and begin to put in the work that you need to do to be consistent with this. Like this past, January, I had worked out most consistent I've ever worked out. Like within a full 12 months, I worked out at an average of 3 times a week for a
Mm.
full year, 3 to 4 times a week for a full year. Like that was such an accomplishment, with so much that's been going on and so many seasons in which, it'd be 3, 4 days I don't do it, but then I get myself back up and do it and meet my goals every month. Like being able to just stay focused on that. The same concept came with this degree. It wasn't until I started loving myself and really saying, you know what, I'm going to take the time to move where God's calling me to move. I've been scared. I've been self-sabotaging myself. I've been thinking that I'm not good enough and what's the point because I'm not smart enough to get into these schools. Nobody wants to nobody wants to hear from me. I don't have much to say. I don't know. I don't even know if this is gonna work out. Like I got in my way so many different times. But once I stopped, breathe, I prayed, and for me, with the faith that I have, I said, once again, I'm gonna trust you, God, and I know that you're gonna put me in the space and give me the knowledge that I need to in order to make the goals that I need to make. So, um, getting out your own way is one of the biggest hurdles, the biggest obstacles.
That I was off the mute. That was, I love that. Then I'll be tearing up a little bit, but that's something I've always struggled with, like telling myself that I am good enough. That is a prayer that we do consistently. We have a prayer in the morning before we talk to anybody else on the phone, before we get into any really deep conversations. We have a prayer, and that is the thing of I pray to help us be doers. That it doesn't do us any good to have all this knowledge. It's like, yeah, you have to love yourself. You have to look at when you are the issue, when you are the problem. Like it's not somebody else doing something to you, it's you. And then it's like, okay, once you figure that out, it's not good enough to just say, okay, well, I did the work. It's like, no, now you have to do something.
Yeah.
And like that's one of the consistent prayers is to help us to start doing, to move, to just even if we, as you said, like even if we go backwards a little bit, the fact that we're just moving, making an effort, going is like because we always we and I do this a lot. We get into the habit of oh man, that's gonna take a long time to do X, Y, and Z. But then, as you know, with kids, time goes by like that.
So
And all,
fast.
and all the time that you were thinking about, like, oh, well, how long this? And it's like that time has already came. So you could have been doing whatever it was that you set yourself to do, and you would have already
On
been
the other
somewhere.
side.
Right. And it's like, yeah, it's like just to get moving, just to say, okay, I know what I want, and I want to go from a space of just having like just some childish dream of, oh, this would be nice to have this, to I'm going to work towards it. I'm going to get up and I'm going to make the effort. Because, like you said, when you're doing stuff for other people, at a certain point, that's not going to be enough. Because when you're doing stuff for other people, when it's not something that you truly want to do for yourself, you would use any old excuse to not go through with it. If something happens, be like, ah, it's like, you doing something for your wife and be like, ah, I want some candy. You want some candy? I'll get you some candy. It's like, good and well that you don't need it, but it's just like, any excuse to fall off the wagon.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, and I know it's hard. Uh, but we got little people watching us, and like I do. Sometimes it's the things that we don't sit down to tell them that they pick up on.
That's not sometimes that those are the things they pick up on. My children pick up on our nonverbal cues more than anything. We can talk blue in the face about how we should, wash your hands after you use the bathroom, but every single time we use the bathroom, we don't wash our hands. Guess what they're gonna see, and that's what they're gonna pick up on. They're gonna
Right.
pick up on your actions. Like they rather, it's the nonverbal things that I even, even in retrospect, when I look at my life and some of the habits that I have, like I picked up for my grandfather. He didn't sit me down and tell me this is what I need to do. He didn't sit me down and have these conversations. When we talk about manhood, my grandfather didn't sit me down and say that boys don't cry or men don't cry, people don't shed no tears. I saw that stuff happen in our life and nobody cried and nobody expressed themselves. So therefore I picked it up as I can't do that because I don't see the people in my life doing that. So therefore the people I look up to, the people that raised me, they don't do that. So I'm not gonna do that either. Like if we didn't, if my family didn't, my family yelled at each other or when we got upset, they threw stuff. Then guess what I'm gonna think? That's normal. So that's what I'm gonna pick up on. They don't have to tell you that. Oh, you shouldn't throw stuff. You shouldn't do that. No, you pick up on the actions. We see our children are sponges. They pick up on our nonverbal cues almost more than what we try to tell them every day.
Right. Yeah, because they're just like, well, you say one thing, but I see you doing this. So clearly, what you're saying is not actually that important.
It ain't because you ain't doing
Right.
it. And
That's another thing that I think about. I pray about is like that they both of my children know how to show and receive love based off how they see me treat their mother.
yes, sir.
Yeah. And it's just like, like I said, like even for my son, it's just like this is how you love somebody. This is how you show love to somebody. And also, this is what you should expect for somebody to show you, the bare minimum. It's like because you deserve that love too. You deserve somebody to listen to you. You deserve that, and I have to show you that. You know,
Absolutely.
uh, if we get in an argument, they need to see us come back together. They need to see us try to handle disagreements respectfully. That it doesn't get to a point to where we're start hurting each other, and sometimes it's hard. You know,
Absolutely.
uh, contrary to what some people believe, love ain't enough. Love ain't enough to not. When you upset and you got that low blow and you know the thing to say to hurt them is like it's gonna take more than love or more than love for that other person. Because as you said, I gotta love myself enough that I gotta hold myself to a standard that I wouldn't do that to somebody that I claim to love. So I wouldn't do that to somebody the God gave me. I gotta do better.
Absolutely, man. And I'm glad. I love the fact that you talk about the way you love your wife is the way that they're gonna be. Because I tell my clients all the time, like the very first relationships that you encounter are the ones that set the precedent of how you view relationships, how you view conflict and trauma, what looks like. Like the very first relationship, rather even if your parents want to, even if your mom and dad weren't in your life, that's still an impact. Like, oh, well, I ain't grew up with them. No, that's still an impact. The fact that their absence is still an impact. So, how I like you said, how I love my wife, how I choose her first before them. And I let them know that. Like, us staying on united front. And another, a lot of issues that people have is in relationships, man, those who try to stay for the kids, but yet the home is not inducive or it does not show love.
Right.
Like, they I want to, I'm gonna just stay with her because of the kids. I tell clients, this is my own personal. I wouldn't say, research or anything else like that, but like what I've seen and what I've understood is, that could possibly lead to more damage than good. Because what it
Right.
does, it does one of two things. I've had clients that sat across from me because they're now in their 20s and they are Melissa, and about her situation with her parents. Like this is,
Yeah.
I see that in therapy. They come in. My parents have been married for 20 plus years. Now all of a sudden they getting divorced. What is going on with my life? The model of what I saw family and parenthood look like is now in shambles, and I don't know what that means for my relationship because I thought everything was great. That's one instance that I see. Then on the other side, I see where my parents were there, but they always fought. They always, I can always tell when an argument would happen. I can always see this, and I can always see that. My mom, talked to my dad about my dad in front of us. My dad was withdrawn from my mom. Like these are all two parent homes. But what happens is, once again, it's the nonverbal. It's the things that we pick up on. The children pick up on. The children see, and that's what they hold on to, and that's what they begin to digest. So just staying in there for the kids, that might be a common ground for you both to be there, but the goal should be to reunification and learning to love one another again, or get into that space where we're loving it and being with one another again.
Because how can I help you, sir? Mommy doesn't know you down here, does she? You say hi? Come on.
Hi.
You say hi? Oh, hi? I love you too. What's that? Here, can you go sit on the bean back, okay? I don't know if you can see, like his big butt is like having me lean over a little bit.
All that weight on it. All that weight on you. Yeah.
Love you too. Here, listen, go sit on the bean back, okay?
You been in the bed all day, man. You trying to hang out.
He ain't been in no bed. We've been out. It's like I picked him up in
I said,
school,
oh,
and we just been driving around. I think that's what also got me is that I just really hadn't had the chance to stop. But here, let me let your mama know that you're down here. Um, but yeah, I definitely feel you on because now if you're staying for the kids, they're not going to see, you know, it's like this is how you handle uh situations, bitterly, and that's a lot of pressure on the kid. If you're saying there, it's like, oh, I'm staying for the kids. It's like, don't put that on the kids.
yeah, yeah.
It's like they don't need to see both of y'all unhappy and arguing. And people like to think that kids don't know when they're arguing. It's like they know.
Absolutely.
What's up? I'm sorry. Give me 1 second.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry about that.
Oh, that's fine, brother.
Oh, he's mad. My wife is doing Bella's hair,
Oh,
which she loves.
hang out.
Yeah, he wants some attention. I wish I could. I'll give some attention when I go back upstairs. He normally does. I'm just gonna bust in the door. Sit down. Sit here, Daniel. Here. No, sit. Hey, 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 come here. Come here. Come here. Daddy's doing something. I can't go right now. Here, just there. Sit. Sit. Can you sit? Daniel, I'll be upstairs with you in a minute. Bye bye. I see you. Oh, okay. Yeah, as you see, it's like, okay, I can't get this parent's attention, so I'm gonna go get the other parent's attention. But yeah, that is one, just real quick, that is one thing that I had to focus on, or I had to put myself in the mindset of with Daniel, is that just because he doesn't show emotions and show things in the same way that, we would think a normal kid, or as they say, a neurotypical child would, it doesn't mean that he doesn't still have needs. It doesn't mean that he doesn't feel neglected. You know, you still got to show up and be like, hey, like she's doing this. Sometimes he likes helping with her hair. He loves hair. We gave him we gave him two mannequins, mannequin heads, like hairdresser, whatever, so he like doing braids or whatever. Because that's something else I wanted for my son. Like I wanted to, like you said, it's the things that you don't say. I don't care what anybody else says if they be like, "Oh, that's girly." Like I don't care. Like this is what he needs, so I'm gonna give it to him.
Absolutely.
If he wants a hug, he wants a kiss, he wants to be affectionate. That's what I'm gonna give him until he tells me otherwise. And I think you know, there is a thing of trying to play a role that doesn't fit, and it ends up, you know, we claim that it's for our kids or for somebody else, but normally it's just for us.
There we go.
Yeah. It's like I can't deal with this, so this is the best way I know how to deal with you. So, yeah. So, but uh, to touch on something you said earlier, that because I saw on your Instagram that you do work for organizations.
Yes.
So how'd you get that set up?
So yeah, so I have a few organizations that I'm partnered with. So on the therapeutic side, I am partnered with an organization called the Relationship Clinic. That's where I see clients. I'm partnered with them, so I see clients there in the state of Texas. Um, they have a brick and mortar, so I go there and I'm able to see clients in person for that and virtually. So that's one therapeutic side of it. On the business side, on my Big Black Therapist side, I partner with two separate entities, man. One of them is called the Queen of Conversation, the QOC Network. That's a conversation. That's a actual a network that produces multiple shows ranging from mental health topics to current events to I think they're opening up a sports segment, a gospel segment, like um, a full network that's coming off the ground right now in a new space where just trying to provide positive content for community, for our community, for our people. So I've been with them and I jump in different segments here and there for their piece as well. And then one of the ones that's really nearest and dearest to my heart is I am the resident therapist for an organization called the Daddy Stroller Social Club. That is a stroller club society founded by the brother by the name of Calvin Bridgewater, in which he had his daughter during COVID. And during that season, there was a lot going on, and his wife was going through postpartum depression. And at one of their checkups, the wife expressed that she was, the doctor was giving out the symptoms of postpartum depression. And while Calvin was there, he started recognizing, like, hey, I'm dealing with some of those same issues. And what he decided to do was actually create a space for fathers to come. So there was a few fathers, a few dads that were around his age, that had children around their age. And he said, hey, man, let's go to the park. Like, let's just go to the park, let's chat, let's hang out, let's let the kids play, and let's, just fellowship. And that grew. It grew tremendously. His wife is a birth photographer, and there was some, she was just letting some of her clients know about what he was doing, and it was like, oh, can my husband come? Can I bring my husband to this and that? And it kind of grew. It grew up to a point where last year it started to gain a lot of numbers, and I think one of our biggest strides, we had over 250 fathers out there at one park. And it was a wonderful event, a beautiful sight. All these um, mainly minority fathers, primarily black fathers, taking care of their children, man, loving on their children, connecting with one another, fellowship, and having a good time. And we're at a space where we're actually branching out into different chapters throughout the U.S. right now. So that's something that we are doing, which I'm definitely blessed to be a part of. Like I said, I met Calvin last year, hit it off with him, man. We went out to lunch and we just really started chopping this thing up. And man, we connected. Like, we talk almost every day, almost like on the phone. Whether it's about business, whether it's about family stuff, whether we just checking in with one another. It's a couple other fathers that I try to check in with every other week or on a weekly basis just to see how they're doing. It started off with me just putting myself out there. Like, I saw an organization that was beautiful, was something that I wanted to be a part of. And I don't know if I mentioned, but part of my reason for coming in, yeah, I did. Part of my reason for coming to therapy is to create that safe space, man. I wanted to create a community where Black men can come and feel seen, heard, and appreciated and validated, in a space for them to be able to express themselves openly. So when I found, the Stroller Club, and I saw what they were doing, I was like, I want to attach myself to them. I want to pour into them. I feel like God has put a lot of knowledge, a lot of space in my heart to be able to help dads and to help communities. And why not partner with an organization that's already starting to do those things? Yeah, those are the main organizations that I'm a part of. There's also another one based out of California that I work with as well, doing big things out there as well. So I got my hands in a lot of different spaces.
That is, I don't think some dudes realize, or at least maybe like some women even realize how much that check in from another man helps. You know, when it is just get to a point where it's just you, the wife, and the kids. You know, both you and the wife need opportunities to talk to other people. To get out to fellowship. Uh, we got that with parent cafes. There's this organization, St. Louis ARC, ARC. They deal with it's a resource for people on the spectrum and other neurodivergent disorders. And before COVID, we would actually go out and meet somewhere. I can think of a couple friends that we have right now. Uh, we met there because I went there one Saturday. I met the wife, and then my wife met her, and then we start talking, and it's just like, oh, the husband, he sings, he's good, he's used to go to the church of my family, whatever. You know, they have been a blessing to us. They have come and watched Daniel and Isabella, giving us time to go out and enjoy each other and just do
Yeah.
something. And but that is I'm trying to do better at that with uh a couple of brothers at church. It's always tough, especially around our age range in church, to try to reach out and talk and keep up and let each other know it's like, hey, you struggling with this. It's okay. You're not a bad person. You just got to keep going. And I think that's great. And it's just another thing of like, I bet when you finally walked across the stage to get that degree, I bet you never thought that your hands would be in so many different things.
Not in the slightest, brother. I had no idea that this is what God has aligned for me. And the thing about it is, and that took a season in its own, like working with my wife on this and these expectations, because for me, I just knew that once I graduate, man, oh, it's off to the races. I'm out here. You also got to remember, like for those 3 years, or those years I was at school, I was also a full time stay at home dad.
Mhm.
So I stopped working and I was devoted to my family, devoted to school and focusing on those things. But I wasn't bringing home an income. And as a man, as what society expects of us and what society says we should do, I felt inadequate. I felt like, I'm not doing what I need to do because according to society, men are only praised for what they can provide and what they can do, not so much who they are. And financially, specifically financially, not just, oh yeah, you can do this. No, how much money can you bring home? That's
Right.
how we that's how we value you as a man. And so even when my household is not that at all, my wife has never put that on me or never expressed it in that space. I still held on to that. So I knew that going into school and taking care of my daughter, or being a primary one here, but wife was able to work. So because I also want to include the fact that she works 7 days on, 7 days off, so it wasn't a space where I'm just here all day and I don't have anything to do. Like she also picked up when she was off work, but at the same time, I didn't want her to have to fully diverge her attention and all of that to her days off because she got to go back to work. So it was so
Right.
much, but I just knew that okay, hey, I only got a couple more years of this, and then when I get my degree, oh, it's on the races. Yeah, that's not how that works. That's not how that works. God had God had more work for me to do, and I'm still in the space of still gaining clients, still in the space of working on getting myself out there, working on getting my brand out there, spending money on advertising, spending money on equipment. I got lighting and cameras and all of these different things to help with getting myself out there. And it's still a journey, but that was that was I just didn't expect it to be this.
Yeah.
Meeting Calvin and meeting Renee and meeting some of my friends with Smart the organization out in California is called Smarts Media Group. Those are my daughter's godparents. I mean, I'm their god. Their My godson
Daughter
is
got
their
there.
parent.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, my godson is their parents, but like they're doing big things out in California, and I'm just in this space of like everybody's like moving in an upward trajectory, and I never saw myself doing anything in this space. I just say, hey, I'm gonna be a therapist. I'm gonna talk with people and kind of move forward. But I think when he placed my big black therapist on my heart and said that's the road I want you to take, he's showing himself in that role. Like he's showing himself and showing the blessings that's coming with that. And I just gotta continue to be obedient in this space.
Yeah, amen to that. Yeah, that's I was supposed to say obedience is better than sacrifice.
Mm.
There, there's a yeah, you can take that one. There, there's a there's a thing that I think men do to where we telling ourselves in regards to how we subconsciously think about women. Because there was a period to where I was a stay-at-home dad, and I had those same thing of like feeling adequate enough. However, there's plenty of dudes who will have a thing like, I want if I can make enough money to where my wife can quit work and she can stay home or whatever, that's what we'll do. It's just like, so what do you think about her when she stays at home? Like, is that not work? Is she not contributing? Is she not doing something? It's like, because if you feel like that you're not doing anything, then what does that mean for her?
Yeah.
And it's that mental, us messing with ourselves mentally is just like, well, it's not there. It's like, no, you're doing a lot. Like you said, you are making it safe so that when she comes home, she doesn't then have to also pick up the slack with the kid. That's what a lot some of these dudes who, as far as I'm concerned, they don't really like women. Uh,
Um,
they want a woman to go to work and come home and cook a full course meal and get with the kids or whatever. My wife did that right now, but we still work as a team. It's like I told her what I was doing. It's not an everyday thing. Sometimes we switch off, like, hey, would you mind getting Daniel? Would you mind getting Bella? No, it ain't no issue. It's like this. I am not doing her a favor for taking care of our kids. Like that's my job. That's
that's what we signed up for.
right.
And I didn't sign up for her to be a single mom
Right.
and also a side career woman.
Right.
Like, no, this and and I want to be a part of it. And I think, that's one thing I can't commend our community about doing. Even not just our community, our age bracket, we are the most involved in history.
Yeah.
We are the most involved parents, in even our race. When it comes down to black men are the most involved in their children's lives out of all the other races.
I,
Each
was-
of
I was
us,
I was going to bring
like,
this up at some point.
yeah, like
I'm
we're the
sorry. Go
most
ahead.
involved. We're the most involved in our children's lives. We're the most ones that have done bedtimes, done changed diapers, fed, eat, clothes, all of those things. And for me, I had to learn, my value is in more than just, it was never in me making a dollar. Because let's be honest, I got a degree in social work. My wife is a medical doctor. There was I had to get to that mindset before I even proposed to her that, it's gonna be down the line before I make more than her anyway. So I
Hmm.
had to I had to I had to accept that already. So I already know that he's not in it for, oh yeah, he gonna make money for me. Like that's not what this is. But
Right.
what happens is society. What happens is we watch social media, the red pill people that you were talking about, the high value man. I want to be a high value man. I want to be this. I want to be that. And we're not even looking at the probability of that. And we're not even looking at the teachings of, what does love look like? What does marriage look like? What does God say marriage should be like? How should it be formulated? What are the characteristics that I need to have as a man? What are the characteristics that I'm looking for in a woman? How am I showing up for my wife? How am I creating this safe space for her? How am I connecting with her? How am I ensuring that she doesn't have to feel like she has to do so much when she gets home? Like, how am I in tune with my partner? Those are the things that matter. And being able to go back to that and looking at the character of an individual, looking at the integrity of an individual and their love, once we start focusing on those things, then we can recognize that, everything else will come into play. And God will, allow that seed to multiply as time goes on.
Right. That's yeah, because there's so much talk about submissive woman, and they seem to conveniently skip the part of the man and what he's supposed to submit to, and what he's supposed to do is like you want a woman to submit to you, but you ain't submitted to God. If y'all going through life talking about you're Christian and you're trying to use the Bible as why she should submit to you, you ain't submitted to God. You haven't submitted to her by what you haven't treated. You're not treating her the way that you're supposed to be treating her. The God told you to treat her, and
You ain't
you
willing to
hear
die for her.
right. It's the thing of you hear. It's like, well, oh, if you were doing the right thing, a woman would easily submit to you. And it's just like, no, she won't. It's like just like I said earlier, it's hard for us to submit to God. So why should this woman easily submit to you and you ain't got your stuff together? There's stuff that you told her you were going to do, you ain't done. You're still you haven't proven yourself, and it's a big thing of you know dudes having an idea of what they want from a marriage, but they don't have the qualifications job wise or characteristic wise. Like your character as a man, you don't even have the characteristics to live that life. And it's like you don't know what you let these people who don't have nobody these lonely people who don't actually love anybody, who don't have nobody to love them, trying to tell you what to do in a relationship, and then wonder why it's not working. And it's like because you're falling for, as I say, the okie doke. You're falling for a lie. But
We let captions and sounds, big captions and big sounds drive us into a point and a whole bunch of people clapping. Ooh, it was good. That ain't saying nothing. Like that meant absolutely nothing. But we allow all of these theatrics to sway us into thinking that this is sound advice when it's coming from a place of trauma. It's coming from a place of hurt. We don't hear the full story. We don't fully understand what's going on in the context of things. And it does a disservice to our community. It does a disservice to the relationship. Men fail to be able to connect with them women and be that person for them because they didn't have that proper model growing up. My daddy slept around. My daddy did this and did that, but he made sure the food was on the table. So that's what I felt like I need to do, and that's not the expectation. I'm not your mama. Like I'm not like look at your partner and find out what they need from you. We don't have these conversations about what our expectations in marriages, in our relationship. We don't do check-ins. Check in to see if we're meeting those expectations. Like we fail at a lot of different things, and that actually brings up to a point where I'm actually, I haven't really told anybody this, but I'm coming out with a series. Well, I started to try to come out with a series, but I decided I'm gonna come out with a series called Back to the Basics, where I discuss ways to connect. How do we get back to the basics of having these fruitful conversations with one another, with relationally, with your friends, with your family, with coworkers? Like, how do we have those good conversations and set out these expectations so that we can not allow social media, not allow other spaces to dictate how we should behave? And instead of thinking for our partner, we learning to look at our partner and talk to them and connect with them in order to grow. That series is coming out. I'm gonna start working on it soon. To really get back to because that's what we need to do, man. We need to get back to those basics of looking at one another as friends, platonically, looking at one another. Those who are in romantic relationships and being in tune with one another, being able to set proper boundaries at work, and with friends, and all of those different things. We need to get back to those basics. So
yeah,
that's gonna be coming out.
that's great. Yeah, hit me up when you start that. Yeah, that's like you said. I got to be able to talk to somebody. It's like I was. It's like I'm like Kev. It's like if something happened, I get a divorce. I don't know what I'm going to do because some of these people is like I can't. Uh, and stupid people make me itch. Like when I hear stupid people talk about, I wouldn't say stupid, and I want to be. I don't consider myself the smartest person, but there's certain stuff that I do like talking about. Even if I don't have the full context, I'm like, yeah, I've heard this. I want to look more into it. I'm watching podcasts and listening to so and so. And like, and I can't be with somebody who I can't have a genuine conversation about like real life stuff. Like,
Yeah,
it's like, yeah, we can talk about, celebrity stuff every now and then, but like, we got to be able to talk about social issues. We got to be able to talk about politics. We got to be able to talk about, what would you do in this situation? What if our kids came up to us and was like this? We got to be able to have those type of conversations. And you get a lot of people who they'll jump into something, realizing that it's like, I don't I don't really like you. And now they don't know they don't know what they sick with somebody they don't like who they can't talk about stuff with. And so, they got to lean on other people, and it's just, it's a struggle. Um,
yeah,
I don't want to keep you too much longer, but I do want to ask you: is it difficult to like you help couples and you help people deal with stuff? Is it difficult to help somebody deal with something and then come back into your own relationship and struggle with something that you helped somebody else with? Like it's like so let me word it differently. Is it weird to like you do this for a profession, but to have the answers but not be able to implement it the way that you know it should be? Like have you had like issues like that?
with other clients, like in terms of
With yourself, it's just like I know how to fix this, but me and wifey are going through something. I know what I should do, but
yes.
there's like an issue there, or whatever.
I mean, yeah. So that's a common thing. We have a struggle with reality and implementing that within our own. Because I mean, we have our own desires, we have our own struggles internally as well. And I dealt with that a lot. I gave advice to people who were literally, we were literally like, this is me. Like I'm talking to myself. And I can give the advice, and that's why I always recommend, like, well, I want to say I always, but that's why I have my own therapist. Like I have my own therapist. Like because just because I am able to sit in this space and create these spaces for other people and pour into them, that does not mean that I won't still have a roadblock of my own. And just like, I may need talking through and processing with to navigate through that. For me, it was imposter syndrome. I struggle with that. I struggle with not feeling like I should be in the room, feeling like I shouldn't be in the room after I've got my degree, after I've passed my licensure exam to become an associate, after I've, had a conference where I spoke to 150 people and they gave me standing ovation, and it was like, man, that's great stuff. I still struggle with, like, but do I belong here? Do I not? And if I was talking to myself across the table or across the seat, I would tell them X, Y, and Z. But that doesn't mean that I'm prepared to receive that information and walk it with myself. So, I saw the therapist, and, he poured into me and gave me some realizations about things that was going on in my life that helped me process it and help me move along as well. Yeah, it happens a lot. There's a lot of things that clients reflect my lifestyle, my things that I've gone through. But that helps me be able to either see myself in them or see the struggle that I may have in them, or the struggle and connect with them because I understand the struggle and I understand the fear and everything that kind of aligns with it. So it helps me therapeutically at times to process my own issues, but I'd still go see a professional. I still create that space with my wife and talk to her about it, or whatever I need to do. And if it's a struggle with her, then I'll go talk to a trusted brother to, receive some insight on it, or whatever, to help me through that process.
That's good. Yeah, and it's not lost on me that you also picked a man as a therapist to help you out. Was that a conscious decision, or it just so happened that's what you did?
No, 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 no. It was very conscious. So my very first therapist that I had was a white male. He fell asleep on me. And that was like that was that was it was a turning point in my life where I didn't want to go to therapy anymore. Like I didn't find a value in therapy, and
That's
it
crazy.
wasn't until exactly. And I look at my title now. Like,
Yeah,
but that's what it took for me to recognize, like, oh, cultural competence is a real thing. Finding a
mhm.
culturally competent therapist, a culturally competent um, physician, culturally competent, whatever position is very important and very key. Now, for those who may not know what culturally competent means, that means an individual who can create a space and see you for whatever your culture is, whatever your belief system is, and be able to create a space where you feel seen, heard, and appreciated. Um, a lot of times we get into spaces where we talk with professionals who aren't culturally competent. They don't, they're not able to view things from your lens or be able to connect with you. One thing about me that people enjoy is the fact that I can create a space regardless. I've had clients that were, as me, I'm a heterosexual male, married, and I'm a Christian. I've had clients that were, homosexual. I've had clients that were pansexual. I had clients that, lesbian. I've had clients that, white clients, single white women, single white men. Like I've had Hispanics. Like I've had all Asians. Like I've had all of these different cultures because I've learned to create that space for them to feel seen and appreciated. So for me, I tell clients, date your therapist. And what does that mean? So when you go on a date with someone, typically, if it's an actual date, you're looking to get to know that individual. And the reason why you want to get to know that individual is because you want to connect with them and possibly have some type of relation with them in the future. Well, that's the same concept with therapy. Date your therapist, get to know them, learn more about them. And that's why I'm so transparent on my Instagram, on my social media platforms, under my Big Black Therapist, because I want people to know who I am. And that helps you build that space. So for me, I knew that I needed a black male. I needed a black man. Like I tried a white male, it didn't work out for me. I wasn't real comfortable speaking with women. I always have black women in my corner all my whole life, but I wanted to find a black male because this is the space that I'm planning on going into, and I want to be able to process that with them. And I found one. He was like 6'4", he had locks. He was about, I think, like 10, 15 years older than me. Been in the game for a little bit. I was like, there we go. I found somebody who's in the space that I want to be in, who looks like me, who understands the plight of a big black man, and I feel comfortable pouring into him. So yeah, I definitely found a black male on purpose, and was able to find blessings and peace in that.
Have you have you had some of the people, any trolls being like, why does it have to be big black therapists? Like, why you have to put your blackness in it? Have you had any of those comments?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. People think of it as a joke. People think it's funny. I've had people, I don't see race. I don't understand that, and it sounds too abrasive. Like before I launched the podcast. Before I launched the brand, I did a soft launch where I reached out to trusted people, family, friends, and just sent to my website, sent to my information, say this is what I want to do, and 90% of everybody was aboard, but then there was that 10, 15% that was just like, hey, I don't know about this. I don't know about that. It sounds this, it sounds that. And those are the people I want. Like those are the people I want in therapy. Those are the people I want to follow me. Those are the people I want to, tap into. Because if you hear the words big and black together, why does that sound? What is wrong with that?
Mm.
What does that mean? Why does that trigger you? All I'm doing is giving a description of what you already see. Because guess what? I'm 6'9". So when I walk in a room, you look up and say, that is a big person. And when you walk, and I'm dark skinned, so you're going to say in your head, that is a big black person. You're saying that. You're just saying that naturally because I'm less than 4%. I forgot what percentage of people in the world are over the 6'5". Like, it's a very small percentage of people in the world that are 6'5" and taller. So for me being 6'9", black individual, yes, that's what you see and that's what you say in your head. So why is that such a, oh, I can't say it. Let's process that. Come sit on the couch. Let's talk about it. Let's understand what's the root of that. And that's the point of me living in my authenticity, calling out what people already see, and making it a space, a safe space, and a place that I could be able to express myself with no judgment.
That's beautiful. Yeah, because I see so much of people who claim they don't see race, they don't see color. My thing is always, we never told you that's what we want you to do. Like, if you don't see our color, then you are missing, as you said, an aspect of us. You're missing out
Yes,
how we interact with the world and how the world interacts with us. And if you discard
absolutely.
that, then when we tell you something is an issue, and you'd be like, oh, well, that's crazy. I never have to deal with that because you're not a big black man, you
Absolutely,
know?
man. It's crazy we even having this conversation. I did a podcast yesterday with a white individual, man. Good guy, very good guy. His name was Lenny. He has one called Big People Podcast, and he said he made that statement yesterday. I don't see color, and I was like, let's slow that down. Let's process that real quick. And we had a very very healthy dialogue about it, and I expressed to him the same concept, like when an individual says they don't see color, what they also are telling me is that color is bad. Because you're saying I don't like, what about the color? Like, what is wrong with the color? I don't see color, I just see you. What's wrong with the color? Like, what is because you're implying that there's something wrong with color because I don't see it. Then what does that color represent to you in your mind subconsciously? And processing that, like, what does that mean for you? And like you mentioned, like my color is so much of who I am. It's part of my identity in this world, in this society, because everybody sees color. So I want you to see my color, but I want you to also see me. So it's not so much of, and you know, I broke it down. I was like, because because we've had conversations outside of the podcast, and we've also had conversations during it. I know that his heart wasn't in the space of saying that, you know, that's bad, but it was just ill informed because that sometimes we hear things that sound sweet and we just run with it. Oh man, yeah,
Yeah.
that does right. Yeah, I don't see. You're right. You know, I do. Me too. And we just kind of run with it without really processing. Like, hey, what does that mean? Or asking someone like, hey, how do you feel about that? And not everybody's gonna feel the same way, but just being able to, you know, answer like, you know, what's your thoughts on this? And really just sit down and process what that means. So yeah, no, that's a very important thing, man. I'm proud to be black. I'm proud of my culture. I'm proud of what God made me, and I stand on it 10 toes down.
I think so some non-black people say stuff like that because it is an uncomfortable conversation to have, and some of them want so badly not to appear racist. Like, oh, I'm not racist. It's just like I can educate you on something and know that you're not racist. It's like you can have some, I wouldn't say racist, but bigoted thoughts without really truly being, you know. And like you said, it's something that we hear all the time, and so we just think that it's okay. It's just like I don't think you're a bad person, but we need to recontextualize what that means when you say that. That it doesn't mean the thing that you think it means.
Absolutely.
You know.
Absolutely, man. And we had that conversation, man. And he was just like, you know what, thank you so much. Like this is like it opened my eyes up and I was so touched and so appreciative of his reception of me expressing that. And I said, and these are the conversations we need to have amongst one another. This is
Yeah.
how we bring unity into the world. This is how we learn to understand one another. It's not about, you know, me pointing the finger saying you're a bad guy because you think this way or because you believe that. It's us, me being able to break this down and allow you to see it and you having the cognitive ability to say, you know what? Instead of becoming defensive, let me hear what he's saying. And let me
Right.
try to view it from his lens and say, you know what, you're right. Let me shift. Or I appreciate you expressing it to me in this way. I never thought of it that way. Let me process it more so that I can assure that I'm saying it, you know, what I mean correctly. Like, you know, just beautiful, beautiful conversations across the board.
Yeah, because that makes me. There's a quote right in front of me. Uh, don't be in such a hurry to condemn a person because he doesn't do what you do or think as you think. There was a
Mm,
time when you didn't know what you know today. That was Brother Malcolm. And I try to think about that sometimes. You know, it changed the way that I'll go into a conversation. Because my wife will make fun of me because I'll be wanting to smoke for people in the comment section sometimes. And I had to pull back and like, you know, for questions I'd be like, what did you mean by that? How did you feel? And the funny thing is that a lot of people can't fully articulate that. When they say something wild, I'd be like, did you, it's like going off of what you said, this would be the logical conclusion. Is that what you meant? Is that what you know, you say something and they can't come back with a logical answer. They fall back on, you know, a lot of stuff. Like there's been a couple of people where I've had conversations. I'm just like, we'll bring up something, I'll address something, and I'll be like, hey, you never addressed this point that I brought up before. And you just kind of move the goalpost. And it's just like, okay, it's like, well, I see where you are now. And you're just kind of, you don't want to actually have a conversation. It's like, so I'll just go ahead and leave you alone. Yeah, some people, you know, don't know, and some people don't care. You know what I'm saying? Uh, but one last question, and I'm gonna let you go. Do you have issue with uh? Have you ever had a client or what have you uh that may be religious and they're wanting help but at the same time, they are either subconsciously holding themselves back under the guise of waiting on God. It's like they come to you for help. It's like, well, I'm just waiting. It's just like, okay, well, you're here now, and I'm telling you this. So clearly, this is the thing you waited. I spoke, and have you had anybody like that who clearly wants to help, but at the same time still kind of holding themselves back?
Yeah, and that's where that's where we two parts. I try to be as transparent as I can in therapy, and the reason behind that is because I really want people to understand. Excuse me. I really want people to understand, you know, what they're getting themselves into. Therapy is only you can only get out of it what you put in. It's not a space for you to, come in and say, "Hey, I want to do this, I want to do that," but then you're not doing any of the homework. You're not having any other conversations. You're not, engaged and not doing the stuff outside of the work. You're only sitting across that desk from me for 45 to 50 minutes to maybe an hour and a half at the very latest. I don't do anything over that because I be getting tired. So you are only there for a limited amount of time. That means that 95% of the work comes outside of the sessions. You're only there with me for 45 minutes to an hour on average, maybe once a week or twice a week. I mean, once a week or once a week or twice a month. So if you're not putting in the work, all I do is make an assessment. Like I've had couples where they left. Like we got into circles where they want to do this. I want to do that. I want to do this. Okay, here's the homework. Here's this. Here's that. Who's that? Who's that? Okay, come back to session. Hey, have you done X, Y, Z? Nah, we haven't done this, but yet we still have these issues. Okay, next month. Hey, have you done this? Nah, we haven't done that, but yet we still have issues. Okay, next month. Hey, so have you done this? We have. So my thing is, I just bring up the pattern. Hey, I'm seeing a pattern here. I provided you with, 4 or 5 different homework assignments and different things for you to do, and you all have yet completed it or you have yet completed it. What's the barrier? I try to process with them. What's the barrier? What's the fear? What are we holding on to? What are we afraid of? A lot of times we're afraid. It's just fear. It's fear on the other side of that because we don't know what we may unpack. We don't know how that may impact our lives. We don't know what to do with that. So therefore we hold on to it. Therefore we don't we live this facade like, oh yeah, I want to get help, I want to do this, but yet we don't take the full steps to get through that because we're just afraid. And that's where I come in a space of building that space for them, creating that space, supporting them in their actions, allowing them opportunity to understand that this is a journey. You've made it up to this point in life with all the trauma that you carried for years, for decades. You carried this with you. You think you're gonna get rid of it in 2 months? You think you're gonna get rid of it in one session? No, it's gonna take time to clean out. Like when you make up when your room is dirty and you hadn't cleaned your room in 3 weeks, you're not about to sit in there for 15 minutes and have a spotless room. It's gonna take time because you put time into making it dirty. So it's gonna take time into cleaning it up. And that's the same concept with therapy. Like it's gonna take time. And being able to take those first few steps, being able to assess yourself and really have those honest conversations is what's going to move forward. And what I found for me with clients who lack that motivation, I just call them out on it to a point where they either don't, they don't return or they make a switch as flip. I had a client recently, like literally today we came in a session and they're ready to embark on um, processing their past trauma. We've been rocking together we're going on our 3rd month of rocking together every other week or weekly. And now they're at a space where it's like, okay, you know what? I think I'm ready to process my childhood trauma and move forward with this. But it took consistency because I asked, hey, have you done this? Have you done that? Have you done that? Nah, I haven't. Okay, I'm seeing this pattern here. And it's just like working out. It's just that motivation. Once you decide to make that switch and move forward, that's when the work starts happening. It's not going to happen until you get there. I can't do it for you. I can't walk that for you.
There's a little bit of myself. Like I've had that thought too. It was like that fear, just like if I uncover this, then I'm going to have to make a change. It's like the things that I used to do, I may not be able to do that anymore. And I kind of like that. So I'm not going to, open that door too much. It's just like, cause I
It's okay.
know, yeah. And yeah, yeah, cause that is deep. Like you said, once again, it's like, you can't do it. You have to do it for yourself. You have to want to do it. You have to want to say, I want to do this. And, I think that is a thing that we have, you know, like I always say to my wife, is like the issues that we have, the things that we want to change didn't happen overnight. They build up over years to now it become a habit. It's become who we are. And so if we're going to break that, we got to do the same work that we did to get into this thing. And yeah, that hard, that hard work, was it Kevin Hart? I've seen him, before he gets on stage, he has a little shit that he does before he goes out. Like, everybody wants to be famous. Not everybody wants to put in the work,
Yeah.
you know? That's the
Everybody want
thing.
to
It's
be
like,
here. Not everybody want
right,
to put in the work.
right. Or as the one, as the one we know more, everybody want to be black, except they don't want to be black.
Except when it's time to be black.
Right. It's like, you want the dancing, you want the coolness until the lights come on behind you. It's like, can I help you, officer? It's like, nah. Until it's something. I've noticed this, just a quick little thing. I was watching something, and it was a thing of people being allies, or supposedly being allies, and it just reminded me of some words King said, coming to light. And it's how some people will, certain people that you think are with you, as soon as they see that rocking with you or standing up for you is going to actually cost them something, they're willing to drop you in a second, be like, okay, well, let's just drop this, and then we could, we'll come back to it later.
Hmm.
It's just like, either the thing that you're supporting me is important or not. Like, this is not my freedom, my liberty isn't an option to me. I don't get to decide when, when I'll have to go through this stuff. I'm always in it. And
Hmm.
you take this time for me when I want to be free, when I want to be liberated, type of thing. And to connect to the back what you're saying, it's like, you can't decide for clients when they are ready. You can just give us, like I can just show you. It's like, when you let me know you're ready, we can go forward. But until you're, like, it's your money. Like, I'm getting paid regardless. It's like, but I think a lot of people do have that, to where it's a fear of, I'm gonna have to put in some hard work. I'm gonna have to change something about myself I don't want to. And it may mess up an image I have of myself. And sometimes I think people don't realize that just because it doesn't necessarily make you a bad person if you made a mistake, like a genuine mistake, not, like, I messed up, whatever. It's different when you're making a choice to constantly do something. But I think,
Yes.
yeah, I think it's a thing, like, I don't, I'm comfortable here. And if I change, I'm no longer going to be comfortable. I'm no longer going to be in that safe space.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But it's getting late. I got to see. Daniel's probably still up. Bella's probably in her crib yelling and counting ABCs. I appreciate you so much for chatting up with me, man. I know you're busy. I didn't want to,
Absolutely.
take advantage of your time. Uh, uh, I don't want to say proud of, because it comes with a certain thing, but I am happy for you. And yeah, forget it. Proud of the
Yeah,
work that
man.
you, yeah,
Yeah.
proud, because, like to show up for people, for friends, and be like, because it's an inspiration for me. It's like, I've
Yeah.
seen them do that. That reminds me I can do it too. Like, I don't need their success, but seeing them succeed reminds me that I can do it too. And I think that's something important, that even if you don't get what you want for something, I think it's a benefit to still acknowledge that you can testify seeing somebody else make it, that you can see somebody else being blessed. And I think, I try to think about that more. it's like, it's not always about you. It's about you seeing somebody else and you could give that as a testimony. So I appreciate you for doing this. I know you got, family of your own. Go ahead and let people know where they can find you.
Yeah, man, I definitely first, man, once again, Carl, I definitely appreciate you, man. I'm proud of you. You know, you've been holding strong. You've been running this thing for years. Even before we met, it was 24 years ago, almost 5 years ago.
Yeah,
And you were already, don't seem like it, but you were already on like podcast number 200 something in. So the fact that you still running this thing, man, and staying consistent with pouring into your community, man, it's a beautiful thing. And that gives me courage to keep going, to keep moving forward, to keep making these videos, and even like I said, start this podcast on my own. Like that's encouragement, man. So as much as you getting it from me, man, I'm getting it from you as well. So thank you so much for that. For those who are
Appreciate it.
listening, man, once again, it's your big black therapist, my big black therapist, not my big back, but my big black therapist, Damani Anderson. You can find me on all social medias. My Big Black Therapist, www.mybigbblacktherapist.com. On Facebook, it's My Big Black Therapist. On Instagram, it's My Big Black Therapist. On TikTok, it's what? My Big Black Therapist, man. So please tune in. I also do life coaching. So I do therapy for the state of Texas, for everybody in the state of Texas. But any event that you're looking for life, career coaching, I also do that throughout the U.S., throughout globally as well. You can reach out to my website, go to the contacts page, and you can schedule a free consultation for life coaching skills. And it's different from therapy, and I provide some context to those who want to know the difference. I have a whole packet that people get where it highlights the differences and everything else like that. So I'm more than willing to help with those. I do workshops, I do speaking engagements. By all means, and even if you got something from this podcast, no matter how long ago it was, not if you come across this podcast 10 years later, man, and the Lord still has me here and on my social media, shoot me a message, man, and let me know. I love to hear where people felt, what people heard me from, and what may have touched them. So I'm definitely appreciative of that. And the space and time that you were able to provide for me, man. Like I said before earlier, man, Carl crawled out the bed and slid down the stairs to get here. And I appreciate, in the midst of him not feeling well, still holding space for me, because he could have easily rescheduled, but he decided, nah, I'm gonna go ahead on and get my boy in, and we had some fruitful conversation. So I appreciate you for that again too, brother.
No problem, man. Like I said, I want to be respectful of your time, and you said stuff. You got back with me. You doing big things, so I appreciate you even, as I say, even give me the time. With everything that you're doing, to even give me the time to chat it back up with you. I really appreciate it. Uh, yeah, I know if y'all want to find me talking about uh, Black History Heroes, I'm able to get one out. I'm still going to do some more and still talk about Black heroes, female heroes, and just other stuff. I'm a mixed bag. And, don't put me in a box. I love my geeky stuff. I love my politics and social issues. I do all of that. So, hit me up on Instagram, uh, not Facebook, I never this, but Instagram and uh, Twitter, Bold Expressions Podcast, BOD Expressions. Uh, on was it Facebook? It just under Carl Liggins. I haven't branded that yet. You can shoot me an email at boldexpressions, the number 4 at gmail.com. Uh, whew, get stuffy. If you can understand me, thank you for spending time. I always say that you could be doing literally anything else. It is almost 10 o'clock for us. He could be doing anything else, be with his wonderful kids, his wonderful wife, but he took the time for this time he will never get back. So that is, I, I greatly appreciate that. When somebody gives you their time, that is something special. And
Yeah.
so I appreciate everybody who has been rocking with me, who spends the time just to listen, to like, share, subscribe, all of that. So I appreciate it. Have a good day, good morning, good evening, whatever you're listening to this or watching this, because I will put this on YouTube. Uh, and as always, don't be so busy proving your point that you forget your purpose.